Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Newsbeat. This is a live broadcast from our studios at Northridge in Accra. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Let's take a look at our top stories. NDC MPs from the Western region take on management of the Ghana Gas Company Limited for neglecting the region in its corporate social responsibility drive. As we mark 7 years since the infamous June 3rd flood and fire disaster, some victims claim they are yet to be compensated by the state. Also coming up, 7 suspected robbers arrested in 2 separate anti-robbery operations in the Western region. And later, we'll take you to Russia, where President Vladimir Putin is set to host the head of African Union for talks focused on grain supplies and political cooperation. Details of these and many other stories are coming up shortly. Stay with us. Welcome to the program. Let's begin from Parliament, where NDC MPs from the Western region have taken on management of the Ghana Gas Company Limited for neglecting the region in its corporate social responsibility drive. According to the MPs, the company, instead of investing in the region where it operates, is rather channeling resources into various projects outside the Western region.
Ghana National Gas Company is national in nature, and so it is important that their reach in terms of corporate social responsibility will be reflected across the country. By all means, it's very important. But I think that their focus on presence must start at home. Their immediate areas of operation. As we speak, in the last few years, ladies and gentlemen, you can check the record. Ghana Gas is spreading its tentacles across Ashanti region, Eastern region, and all sorts of places, except for the area that it operates, the Nzima areas. As we speak, we have hospitals there with a lot of challenges. And so you see Ghana Gas building, refurbishing hospitals in the Eastern region, building schools in Ashanti, which is okay. But we are advising Ghana Gas that we are speaking as representatives of the people in the closest of the area they operate, that they are not happy. They should focus first in addressing some of the concerns that have already been addressed by chiefs and people constantly on a daily basis, whether it's on education, whether it's on healthcare, hospitals. I mean, it's very disheartening when I come from Atuabo or Anochi, and I know that, God forbid, if anything happens tomorrow morning, I'll be the first to be affected. I know the sacrifices I've gone through with my farmland to Ghana Gas. To read on a daily basis, Ghana Gas is building hospital bungalows somewhere else, and my hospital is already has nothing. We are speaking on behalf of the people of Nzima.
Let's remain in the House of Legislature as Minister of Education Dr. Yaw Adutwum has told Parliament that his outfit, together with the West African Examination Council, has adopted new strategies for the prevention of leakages of examination papers within second cycle institutions. This, he said, will help safeguard the integrity of examinations conducted by WAEC.
Deployment of biometric access control device at the Security Printing Division to ensure that only authorized staff enter the premises. B. Strict bodily searching of persons entering and exiting the press house. C. CCTV monitoring of all activities relating to the production of question papers. D. Use of tamper-proof envelopes to seal question papers. E. Packing of sealed questions in plastic self-sealing envelopes. F. Bagging of packets in security bags. G. Use of security seals on the bags to ensure that no one has access to the packets while in transit. H. Use of combination locks to lock the security bags to ensure that no one has unnoticed access to the packets before the code is released to the depot keepers. And I. Fortification of depots where question papers are kept. Strategy 2. The Council engages the Ministry, GS, and other agencies to undertake sensitization of the candidates and the public on examination malpractices, its effects on candidates and the society, as well as the punitive actions candidates and schools stand to face for engaging in such acts. 3. The Council is pursuing the introduction of alternative parallel papers in assessing candidates. The first step was randomizing the options of the question test for the BECE 2021. It was observed that this action reduced the circulation of answers online.
The National Cathedral is in the news again, and Member for Parliament for North Torn constituency, Samuel Okudzoto-Ablakwa, insists his side of the House will get to the bottom of the alleged use of public funds for the construction of the National Cathedral. The ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament said the House never approved the release of the said 25 million Ghana cedis for the project.
Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. So you cannot be building a cathedral where we are going to pray, where we are going to confess our sins, hoping that the prayers will get to heaven. It will go past Chebi and get to heaven. You cannot be building that project on a cathedral project, on a foundation of deception, of lawlessness, of lies. All we are saying is that come clean. If now you are having challenges with your fundraising, probably you thought that there will be a lot of support from non-governmental sources for your project, the personal pledge you made to God. This is probably the only president in the history of the world who makes a personal pledge to God and then uses the taxpayer. I wonder if the Consolidated Fund has now become the basket for his tithe, whether it is his tithe and collections. That's what the Consolidated Fund is about. You make a personal pledge, now you want to encumber us. Remember, originally you said, oh, personal pledge, you will not burden the taxpayer. Even when you made a little shift, you said that it will just be seed capital. But Annie, you will be shocked to realize that what we are discovering, this afternoon we will be putting out more in the series of damning documentations we have received.
On the cathedral?
On the cathedral. This is just the first expose. You will be shocked that so far, hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis has gone into this project.
Meanwhile, Managing Director of the State Transport Corporation, Nana Kumia, says building the National Cathedral is of utmost importance to the government.
Cathedral is very important to me. It's a pledge to me. Now, who makes a personal pledge to build a national edifice? Annie, have you seen some before? Who makes a personal pledge to build a national edifice? If you make a personal pledge, then what you are going to build is not going to be for a national. So, please, the building of a cathedral is very important to us. 70% of our population are Christians. I'm very happy that our Muslim friends have got a cathedral, a mosque befitting the status of their religion. 20%, 25% of our people. They've got this splendid place built, I think, with the Turkish government also. Christians also would appreciate the building of a national cathedral where, when there are important events, national events, those events can be housed in a proper edifice. When you go to many countries in the world, they have this facility. When you go to America, there are still people sleeping on the streets of America. There are still people sleeping on the streets in London. But they have national cathedrals for national occasions.
Away from that, the underlying cause of the 3rd June disaster was flooding, partly due to inadequate drainage system. 7 years on, some areas in Accra continue to face drainage systems and challenges due to indiscriminate buildings. In La, encroachment on the Kweshi Lagoon continues, despite warnings by city authorities, causing floods and destruction of properties. Gabriel Obodai has more.
Lagoon has for years served as a buffer. It has received and channeled huge volumes of water, traveling through several drainage channels across the city of Accra into the sea, especially during downpours. But this is no more. Currently, large portions of the lagoon and its mangroves have been reclaimed and sold to individuals for residential and business purposes. The last two rainfalls on May 21 and 23 exposed areas around Chado, where the lagoon flows. Large tracts of lands were submerged. A fact-finding tour by the Ladade-Kotopon Municipal Assembly also revealed other portions of the lagoon have been filled with sand, construction debris, and garbage in efforts at reclaiming some more portions of the natural reserve. One Nitete, and knowing that he was talking to the municipal chief executive, claimed ownership of a fence wall that had been erected on portions of land reclaimed from the lagoon.
Yamuwe. I job with them.
Immediately, Municipal Chief Executive Solomon Kote Nikwe ordered the fence wall to be pulled down. Several structures suffered same fate, whilst others were marked for demolition.
They are behind all this. From Leshin, this is part of the Kweshi, and you are selling the place. They will tell you. I come here almost every day. Just recently, we came to arrest them at the other end. When I got here, they were threatening me. I have to quickly call the police. I have the videos here. I mean, the land is finished, and you are not feeling the Kweshi. But I think the best solution is what I've said. Let's create a barrier at the main road. When you are coming in as a tipper truck, we find out where you are going, and then we'll follow you to come and have a look at what you are coming to do. That is all.
More than 24 hours after the downpour, residents of the area are counting their losses.
So Kweshi has never been defeated, but the people are filling it up.
So that is the challenge.
That is it.
Understand? So now the problem is very big.
That is why I said, you wait, let's assess it.
A group of affected residents strongly made a case for the assembly to do more to bring sanity in the area.
We're trying to point to him that the difficulty that we are having is from one person structure, which is an upfront to the flow of the water. I told him I'm a construction engineer, and I saw that he was not having interest in addressing that particular issue, but rather trying to demolish this one and demolish other buildings which is not on the way of the water.
A frustrated and overwhelmed chief executive lamented how some unscrupulous persons disobey laws and blame repercussions on government.
You have to change the attitude. I mean, it's very bad. You know where you are building is wrong, but you are still doing it. Sometimes you go there to demolish it. At least we can't be there 24 hours. You know where you are filling. It's a waterway, but they will still go ahead and fill it and then sell it. And even the one who will buy, you should know that it's a waterway, but they will still go ahead and do it. But, I mean, we are up to the task. We've been fighting. We'll continue to fight until we win the battle.
The assembly says it will start extensive demolition later this week and appealed to residents to support the efforts of the assembly.
If he is able to walk the talk and not only mere writing on the walls, when we were going on the tour, we saw some as late as 2014, 2013. So writing on the wall alone and saying we will demolish it within the week. We are here, Time will tell. But within the week, tomorrow and next week, I don't know if you can visit the place and see.
We'll be coming over to visit and assess.
Yeah,
Still on flooding, the Wutu Senya East Municipal Assembly says it will soon demolish houses situated on waterways and riverbanks. The action forms part of the Assembly's efforts to reduce flooding within the municipality. Central Regional Correspondent Akwesiado has more in the following report.
Suburban communities such as Opekuma and Pometezongo were submerged by water during a recent downpour, which also resulted in many households losing valuable belongings. The MC, Anita Lavobu Emisa, who embarked on a tour with the Works Department of the Assembly, Lands Commission, and officials of NADMO, announced plans to demolish some structures situated on waterways. She said the action would help lessen the plight of residents anytime it rains heavily.
Yenim payinfo a wo hwe iwim nsam do wa ma ya atase de afi so banano yezen onyi de yetena ho ma asam kase bi to hye na ansa na yetu ho anamon ntane pay ya abade yenyi ho a wotetete ha nsu ni fo ho no yenyi ho reason komo pina wo ben gata no dodo nti yerebetin gata no mu ye ka che ho ye bon amenze de owo a wodan wo wall oben gata no owo de yebun na yentumi na yensora na yembeye oyeda ma na yamfa enyiza amohwan nti no de yenyi ho no kasa mentase yi edwuma.
Motivated by a recent directive by President Akufo-Addo to the various assemblies to remove structures within waterways, the head of Works Department of Wutu Senya East, Engineer Isaac Ofori, stressed the assembly now feels emboldened to carry out such exercises.
This time around, since the President of the Republic has come in, you will not mind anybody. The chiefs, you don't mind them, even though you have respect for them. The land guards too, they shouldn't come in at all. So we are going to demolish all these structures.
He said over 100 houses sited along the banks of the Okudu River, as well as those in other waterways, will not be spared.
We are going to ensure that the law takes its course. So all the affected structures, within the 21 days, if they are not removed, after 21 days, we are going to do it by ourselves. And they will pay for all the cost of the demolition.
Meanwhile, Chief of Gomwenyenyano, Nido Duriabo VI, has expressed worry about the flooding situation within the Gomwenyenyano and surrounding communities.
I free the member in Autotoring in Ojuba Nyanyano Baka Numu. Nasisi Ayabake, Yakase, Bakano, Numu Esu. Into Yasre, DC in an impayful one shredder, Wabama buying Aswati. Na Jumede Otedam we betting Bakanim. Now I'm in Sophie and Biambia Ruina, Waba, Nano Danyano Bakanim. Where Tum will flow, Demra Ofata.
In response, the Gomwa East DC, Solomon Dakokwam, promised to have drains within the communities desilted. He also announced the Assembly's plan to demolish all buildings and structures that do not conform with the Assembly's planning scheme.
We in Gomwa East Assembly were actually living up to our mandate of protecting life and property by ensuring that the right thing was done. So it only comes to embolden us to do what is necessary to protect life and property.
So, attempts at finding solutions to Ghana's perennial flooding remains a mirage. While environmentalists have blamed city authorities for the mess, MMDCs have argued that they have comprehensive strategies to reduce flooding in cities across the country.
Cities. This, in time, has been blamed on failure of city authorities to adopt measures to mitigate flooding. Against this background, environmentalist Nana Jomo Sapon blames city authorities for failure to deal with the flooding situation. He lamented most river bodies have become storm drains causing floods.
When they started this gutter engineering, I cautioned them that if they do this gutter, it will affect people downstream. They didn't listen, and they did this gutter. And the worst thing they are doing is that look at the sand. In the contract they give them, they say dust pollution is negligible. It's just a negligible thing they are doing here. The sad thing is that the engineer at this place, I call him that people are putting sand somewhere, it will cause it. One of this guy, he told me that the man has come to beg him. As an engineer, I call him this time, he doesn't respond. When I see something, I want to draw his attention so that they won't mind me, because they know what they are getting. It's so sad.
He therefore called on government to sack MMDCs for failing to reduce flooding.
Told you that was about not long ago with you that this is going to cause a problem. It's going to cause flooding severe, but they didn't mind me. Okay, in Ghana, I'm asking this question. Is this only about evil things, bad things people are concerned? Parliamentarians, don't you see these things? Who is the MP here? And all over the city and all over the country, the MPs, they don't see this thing going on. What are they doing about it? Does he have to take the president who is sitting somewhere carrying Ghana on his head to come and do these things? President sack some people because they are not working. If somebody can do, a private person can do this, an engineer come and do this and break somebody's wall and allow all this nonsense, where are we going? Go behind there. The water is very clean. It can do something. You can use it to wash your things. But it's a gutter now.
The Lejokuku Municipal Chief Executive Mordecai Kwashi, however, insists most assemblies have done their best to stop flooding.
I'm yet to meet any developer in a waterway who has a permit. I'm yet to see one. All those I've met so far, and I've met close to 100 of them, none of them have a permit. So in a sense, given my experience at the day's thing, which albeit isn't too much, I have difficulty accepting the statement. However, it is the duty still of the assembly to have stopped them from doing it.
He noted that the assembly has cited over 100 illegal structures on waterways and will soon be demolished to ensure free flow of water. He pledged assembly's commitment to reduce flooding.
The special prosecutor has reportedly frozen the assets of Sir John. We'll tell you that and more after the break. Hello again. Zoomlion Ghana Limited has introduced a mobile transfer station system to effectively manage waste in the capital. According to Managing Director of the outfit, Gloria Anti, the system will help mitigate the recurrence of the June 3 twin disaster that resulted in the death of over 150 persons.
The impact of the June 3 disaster has left an indelible memory in the minds of Ghanaians, victims and persons who lost their relatives as a result. Waste management giant Zoomlion Ghana Limited to the rescue has outlined some measures to mitigate a possible recurrence.
The assessment post-disaster tells us that it was caused mainly by choked drains. So Zoomlion started with dredging, and this activity came about the establishment of a company within the Jospon Group that we call Dredge Masters Company Limited. Dredge Masters is into responsible dredging, and this has made it a bit safe for us, and we are confident that should we experience torrential rains, we are not going to experience that kind of flooding.
The Managing Director, Gloria Anti, stressed the need for attitudinal change as a sure way to sustain the fight.
We can wait for an occurrence and then Zoomlion will come in or the government will spend, but that is not a responsible way of living as citizens. We need to change our attitude so that our children and the upcoming generation will also see it as a way of living. So we don't dispose of waste inappropriately. We put our waste in receptacles.
But how available will her outfit be in terms of providing logistics?
Initially, we had one transfer station at Achimota, but then all these refuse trucks find their way through traffic to the transfer station. So we have introduced the mobile transfer stations. That will reduce the turnaround time and also make it easy for trucks to access at various locations, rather so that it compacts the waste. And it's also, I would say, it's more efficient, an efficient way of managing waste, so that we just do a trip or two instead of all the trucks finding their way to the transfer station or the final disposal site.
Zoomlion Ghana Limited remains committed to the fight against perennial flooding and the management of waste to ensure environmental sustainability in Ghana and Africa.
As reported earlier, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has frozen the bank assets of the late CEO of the Forestry Commission, Sir John. This latest move is part of investigations into the acquisition of state lands that were contained in the will of the late CEO. The Office of the Special Prosecutor last week commenced investigations into a suspected case of corruption against Sir John with regard to his alleged improper acquisition of state lands within the Achimota Forest and the Sakumono Ramsar site. A will purported to be that of Sir John caused public uproar after he bequeathed state lands to some of his relatives. I've been joined via Zoom by the Chief Crusader of Crusaders Against Corruption, Emmanuel Wilson, to help us understand the move by the OSP. Emmanuel, welcome to the show. What's your take on the assets frozen by the Special Prosecutor? Hello, Emmanuel, can you hear me? Can you kindly unmute your microphone so that we can hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Kindly go ahead. Yes.
Very well. So as I said earlier, Crusaders Against Corruption Ghana.
Your voice is very low, Emmanuel.
Special Prosecutor. Is it better?
It is. Kindly carry on.
Oh, very well. We welcome the move by the Special Prosecutor to freeze the accounts and properties of Sir John. If you look at the will as exhibited in social media and on other platforms, it is suggestive clearly that there is an act of corruption in it, in that the properties in question, with particular reference to the Achimota Forest, has to do with property belonging to the state. And if Sir John will want to take the property belonging to the state, we see an abuse of office in it. And so it is welcoming that the Special Prosecutor has decided to do an investigation. The first thing he needed to do is what he has done. Not just to freeze the accounts, but also other properties, because the accounts, we are not sure whether they were monies that were amassed through corrupt practices or not. Our only worry is that it is becoming suggestive that the Special Prosecutor is taking a posture of being a reactionist other than being a proactive person, in that he waits for things to happen before he comes out and says that he's investigating. If the Special Prosecutor is up and doing, we do not expect that the said person, Sir John, would have died and his will would have surfaced before the Special Prosecutor would have taken an action. Right. In as much as we commend him for this, we are also saying that we are not so enthused by the way he seems to be relaxing and waiting for things to come into the public domain before he takes an action. His office should be seen preventing corruption other than fighting it after it has occurred.
Right. And this has brought to bear the question of asset declaration, which we've been told that most public officers fail to do. So do you think the Special Prosecutor should take up the responsibility to ensure that all public office holders declare their assets?
Indeed, if he decides to take the posture that we are proposing to him, being a proactive Special Prosecutor, what it means is that he should, with immediate effect, summon each and every public officer who has not declared his or her assets, so that we will be able to see the assets that these individuals had before coming to office and the assets they are going to have after they've left office. You don't wait for the person to die or leave office before you get into his assets. It is also unfortunate not just the special prosecutor, but it is unfortunate that per records, we have just a handful of ministers, a handful of MPs who have currently declared their assets, particularly when it was one of the flagship programs or policies of the current president, that when he assumes office from 2016, he will ensure that the Asset Declaration Act is adhered to by his appointees. Unfortunately, he has not been able to live up to expectation as far as this policy is concerned. And so we expect strongly that the special prosecutor will take this on, and not just asset declaration. As we speak, Crusaders Against Corruption Ghana, we have in our custody a list of individuals who have taken possession of state lands and state properties right from 1999 to date.
Right. Can you share some with us?
That if we as a society organization,
Emmanuel, can you share some of the names with us?
Then the special prosecutor should also have this list. Come again.
Can you share some of the names with us?
Well, it is quite interesting, but maybe I'll just mention one or two.
Okay.
Oboshisai is one of it. Abu Sakara is one of it. I mean, we have a number of them. I don't have the list currently in front of me, but the list has over 100 individuals. Most of them are individuals who are currently holding positions. And I believe later in the day, when I should visit your studios at 2 o'clock, I will be able to go through the list with some of the viewers that will be glued to your station.
Right. And has this list been presented to the Office of the Special Prosecutor?
As I indicated, we have not presented it to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We've not done that on two reasons. One, the fact that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has not responded to 3 different petitions that we, Crusaders Against Corruption, has given to his office is an indication that he's not interested in any document, or he's not interested in partnering the civil society organizations, including Crusaders, for us to fight corruption.
Right.
2, the fact that Crusaders Against Corruption, being a civil society organization and does not have the resources that a whole special prosecutor who is being funded by the states or the public funds, taxpayers' money, the fact that we have it, we assume that they should be in a better position to have it. But if they do not have it,
okay,
and they reach out to us, we will be more than willing to share with them.
Right.
Because that would give us the indication that indeed they are now willing to partner us to fight corruption in this country.
Emmanuel, thank you very much for speaking to us this afternoon. Away from that, 7 suspected robbers have been arrested in 2 separate anti-robbery operations in the Western region. 4 of the suspects, Shadrach Nyame, Wafa Yao Buadu, Samson Atobra and Kweku Kodua, were arrested at their hideout at Wasa Puwakon after they had robbed their victims of an amount of 42,360 Ghana cedis and some mobile phones at a section of the road between Wasa and Wasa Abenabena. The 3 suspects, Samuel Amuzu, Francis Echampon, and William Kwifie, were arrested for attacking and robbing their victims of various sums of money and some gold ore at Yayasu village near Samreboy. Other items so far retrieved from the suspects include 1,480 Ghana cedis, a quantity of gold ore, 1 pump action gun, 7 AAA live ammunition, and 1 spent cartridge. The suspects are in police custody and will be taken through the due process of the law. Now, the Rent Control Department has welcomed the news by the Minister of Works and Housing to review the Rent Act. According to the department, officers are unable to enforce the act due to logistical challenges.
Ghanaians have raised concerns with the rent law. A large housing deficit means tenants are at the mercy of house owners. The 6 months advance cutoff point, for instance, is hugely abused. House owners charge between 2 and 3 years rent advance. The Rent Control Department, which is clothed with the mandate to ensure the Act is obeyed, faces challenges.
In doing those inspections, we need logistics to conduct those exercises. But you can bear with me. the department is under-resourced. Of course, so because of this, we cannot do some of those things. Though they are very minimal, we try to monitor, try to do the inspection, where we have to go to the houses, go to the apartment, and ensure that the laws are being enforced. But just as I mentioned, the logistical problems are there, which is impeding some of our functions.
The Public Relations Officer of the Rent Control Department, Emmanuel Posu, therefore welcomed the move by Parliament to review the Rent Act.
Then since 2010, we started to see if we can review the 1963 Act. And fortunately for us, the good news has come that during this section of Parliament, the rent bill will be considered. We've engaged a lot of major stakeholders to bring in their inputs so that we'll have a general law that will benefit all of us. So we are happy Parliament will consider passing this bill for the President to put his hands on it to assent that law so that we can come.
He was worried landlords continue to demand more than 6 months advance from their tenants, despite the penalty of a 2-year jail term if caught. Emmanuel Posu advised tenants not to pay advance beyond 6 months. He reminded all that the practice of landlords fixing rents without consulting the Rent Control Department is also illegal, insisting that rent is determined and approved by the Rent Control Department.
When you want to rent your premises out, the first thing you have to do is to come to the Rent Control Department for what we call an assessment. The assessment is where we'll come and determine how much rent you are supposed to pay. There are certain ingredients we put together to come out with the rent. The first is the land on which you've built your premises. We look at the size of the premises, the materials you use, and some other things, even the property rate you pay annually, all come into effect. So that will determine how much rent you are to charge for a period of 2 years.
Right, and there's an update from the intended demonstration by the Fix the Country movement from the Ghana Police Service, and it says on June 1, 2022, the police filed a motion of notice at the High Court to restrain or prohibit the organizers of their intended armed demonstration. It also continues by saying that the organizers, represented by Benjamin Dako, were duly served with a motion on notice, which application was heard today, June 3, 2022, at the Criminal High Court 4. We'll bring you more on that in our subsequent bulletins. Business News is next. In business today, the International Finance Corporation's leader on green building in Ghana, Dennis Kwanzaa, is urging architects and engineers to adapt green building technologies to limit global warming in the sub-region.
Research has shown that there is an estimated $768 billion investment potential in green buildings between 2018 and 2030 in emerging markets across the globe. Speaking at the launch of IFC EDGE Building Challenge, the Senior Country Director of IFC Ghana, Semil Hasibeglu, called on architects to make green building an agenda to help reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
Increase this practice of green and resilient recovery for Ghanaian economy in this environment where climate change is very important.
The executive director of Greda Estate, Sami Amagaibo, reiterated the importance of green building in Ghana.
Not all about expensive stuff, but you have to look at the long-term benefit of it, and it is good that all of us embrace it and work towards bringing that change that we all require.
Green building lead Dennis Kwanzaa was optimistic the EDGE competition will help address climate change issues.
Give us a low-hanging fruit for us to tackle climate change. In that, in buildings, there is a lot of energy that is, in there, that is wasted. The research is saying that about 80% of energy that is in buildings can be utilized in a more efficient way.
The EDGE course is designed to enable young professionals to inculcate less cost-effective strategies and building designs in Ghana.
Now, latest research conducted by the National Insurance Commission has shown that the confidence of Ghanaians in the insurance sector is on the rise. The Commission, in a perception index survey, concluded that about 78% of respondents sampled have knowledge about insurance in the country.
According to the survey, 16% of respondents have some knowledge about insurance, while 6% do not have an idea what insurance is. The survey, which was conducted by the insurance regulator, showed the knowledge index of 0.5132, which is lower compared to 2020 average of 0.5392, representing a 2.6% change. The Commissioner of Insurance, Dr. Justice Ofori, mentioned that the increase in knowledge of insurance is as a result of public sensitization and regional representation of the Commission.
We decided to expand our tentacles. Initially, we were operating in only 4 regions, but now we've actually expanded to the previous 10 regions. We have also been engaging the the Ghana Insurance College to train 10,000 insurance agents nationwide in all the previous 10 regions.
We return from the break with the latest in sports. Stay with us.
Have some knowledge about
My name is Phil John Quarter, and it's time for sports. Kumasi Asante Kotoko secured the 25th league title of the Ghana Premier League after picking a draw against Ash Gold yesterday at the Lenkley Sports Stadium. Prosper Nateo is the head coach of the Reds.
Great, wonderful. First season with a greater number of players who are new players in the club. They've never tasted Premiership before, but then we have come, we have led, we have cared, we have inspired, and we have conquered. I think we didn't start well, and I saw it from our warm-up. They weren't their usual self when we are going for a warm-up. They looked slow, and I think that actually affected us in the start of the game. Actually, it wasn't one of the best days at the office with respect to our performance today. The defensive line didn't look that organized. They looked slow. There were a lot of spaces between them, which wasn't the best. It gave Ash Gold the opportunity to exploit those spaces. But then, I think the second half, we came back, we looked better. We got one free kick, and that was it. We needed just the point to get the trophy.
Dr. Prosper Nateo is the head coach of Kotoko, reacting after they managed to pick a draw against Ash Gold yesterday that secured them the title of the Ghana Premier League. Talking about it, let's bring you the fixtures of match day 32 on your screens now. Accra Lions will take on Brekum Chelsea in Accra. Bechem United will welcome Aduana Stars. Bibiani, they will be at Bibiani, that's Gold Stars. They will play against Wafa from Togakope. In the Eastern region, Dreams FC will play Ash Gold, whilst 11 Wonders will be at home against Legon Cities. In the Central region, specifically Elmina, it will be Midiama that is going over there. Great Olympics will be at Accra Sports Stadium, and they will play against the new champions, the Ghana Premier. We're talking about Kotoko. Karela United will knock horns against Real Tamale United, whilst at the Babaya Sports Stadium, it will be King Faisal playing against Accra Hasofo, who have just been dethroned as champions of the Ghana Premier League. That's your sports. Desi is standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Up next, we talk entertainment news. I am Desmond Okrekudan. So now let's start with the BETs, because the organizers announced the nominees for this year's edition earlier this week, and no Ghanaian musician was in the Best International Act category. This afternoon, we'll take a look at how some Ghanaian musicians have fared since the inception of the awards.
The BET Award, since its inception some 21 years ago, has become one of the most anticipated awards on the entertainment calendar across the world. The awards, which was first organized in 2001, seeks to award outstanding African Americans in music, sports, and other fields of entertainment. Over the years, Ghana's association to the awards has been through the Best International Act category, which was introduced in 2010. Ghana's music maestro Kojo Antwi was the first Ghanaian to be nominated in the category, but lost the award to UK act Dizzy Rascal. In 2011, the category was renamed to the Best International Act Africa, with the rapper D-Black getting a nomination but lost out to Nigerian duo Two-Face Idibia and D'banj. Sarkodie won Ghana's first at the awards the following year in 2012 together with Wizkid. R2Bs got nominated in 2013. Sarkodie again got nominated in 2014. Stonebwoy and Sarkodie were nominated in 2015, with the dancehall musician winning the category. Singer Miss V was nominated in 2016 and Stonebwoy and Mr. Easy in 2017. The category was changed back to the Best International Act to include all internationals across the world. Since that change in 2018, no Ghanaian musician has been nominated in the category to date, making it 4 years without a nomination. However, rapper Kwesi Arthur was nominated in the Viewer's Choice Best International Act category in 2018. This year's BET nominations for the Best International Act category includes Dave from the UK, Dinos from France, Fally Ipupa from DRC, Fireboy DML from Nigeria, Little Sims from the UK, Ludmilla from Brazil, Major League DJs from South Africa, Tate from France, and Thames from Nigeria.
And that's all for entertainment. My name is Desmond Okreku-Dan, so Kenneth is standing by for the rest of the bulletin.
Thanks, Desmond. International news is next. Russian President Vladimir Putin will host the head of the African Union for talks focused on grain supplies and political cooperation amid Kremlin's standoff with the West over Ukraine. Washington and Brussels have imposed unprecedented sanctions against Moscow over their invasion of Ukraine, pushing Putin to seek new markets and strengthen ties with countries in Africa and Asia. Cereal prices in Africa, the world's poorest continent, have surged because of the slump in exports from Ukraine, sharpening the impact of conflict and climate change and sparking fears of social unrest. On Friday, Putin will receive Senegalese President Macky Sall, who chairs the African Union at the Black Sea residence in Sochi. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.